Hi, everyone. Leslie Osborne here is back. I'm a U.S. Women's National Team veteran, and I am joined with Lindsay Tarpley, 125 caps for the U.S. Women's National Team. Hi, Lindsay. How are you doing during this World Cup?
Hi, Les. I'm doing great. What a crazy ride so far.
Craziest World Cup we've ever seen. We all thought this would happen, but this is by far the craziest. And we are only in the knockout rounds, right?
I know. There have been so many great matches and upsets. It's been incredible to watch. It's really been remarkable to see the growth in the women's game across the world.
Let's start off and talk Team USA since that's our former team. What grade would you give Team USA so far in group stage heading into knockout rounds?
Ooh, you're starting with the tough ones, Les.
I know. Cool.
I've always been hesitant to give a grade, but when I look at that, I see it as a pass fail, and they've passed. They are through, they're in the knockout rounds. And you look at teams like Germany and Brazil that aren't there, and they have essentially failed that first portion. So instead of looking at it as a grade, I see it as they are continuing on, they're moving forward. And this tournament is about gaining momentum as we go. And so I hope that we can continue to refine and keep it going.
I like your positivity, Tarp. I'm going to go ahead and give them a grade. I give them a C minus. I think this has been below average performances. They know it's not good enough. We know it's not good enough. But looking back at the last 9 months, this team has not played well. They've struggled finding chemistry. They've struggled finding cohesion in the attacking third. And really, this is just a sum of how this team's been playing for the last year. So I don't think there's a whole lot of surprises there. I think we thought at some point things were going to start clicking, and they have not. So yes, they're moving on. That's what we can celebrate. But the way that they're playing, it's not going to be able to win them a World Cup. So C minus, there's a lot of room to improve here. And like you said, we're now in knockout rounds and playing on the national team. It's another set of games, and you kind of have to forget about the first round of games, especially in their case, because they were not good, and it's not good enough, and the standard has to be better. So you at Team USA, I'm giving you a C minus. All right, against Portugal and the Netherlands, they seemed unable to control possession and build attacking momentum. Is this a major concern for you?
For me, I look at that as Portugal and the Netherlands were very well organized, well coached. The way they came out against the US, they did a really good job with it. However, yes, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. And again, that starts with being able to have people step up on the US team, playing through the midfield more, having the ball at Lindsay Horan's feet more often, and really connecting in that final third. So with time, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to start breaking these teams down. I don't give them a C minus, but Les, what you said is accurate. I just hope that with all the game changers on that team, that we can continue to dig deep and figure this out.
So speaking of game changes, then what would you change to this US lineup?
I actually like how we're playing. I just think we need more cohesion in that final third. And we've had some chances. We just haven't finished those off. So the World Cup, you look back at the ones that we've won, and we always have games that are difficult, but we score the goal. So the fact that we didn't score the goal in the last two games, we still are creating. To me, the Netherlands game was a tale of two different halves. The first half, they came out and took it to us. In the second half, I thought we controlled the majority of the game. So again, go ahead, Les.
No, I think that second half is really the only positive we can take away in 3 games. And we were able to respond. And I feel like the start of the first games and knockout or in group stage, we talked about how important it would be for the US to start off strong on their front foot, attacking and pressuring. And they weren't able to do that. And you can't wait till halftime to turn that on against some of the best teams in the world. And they weren't able to control the ball because they didn't have the ball. And the US is not comfortable being uncomfortable. These are teams, Portugal especially, that are incredibly good. They've been good. They've played on youth teams before. They have the same coach. They have an identity and a style of play. And the US struggled not having that ball. And when they did get the ball, there was no one able to control tempo and get some passes. The most passes the US had was two pass sequences, which is extremely low for this team. So although I agree with you that we have to finish our chances, we have to be able to keep the ball and create chances. And against Portugal, we didn't create enough chances. And against these teams, it's only going to get harder and harder because these teams are gaining confidence in possessing the ball around us. I thought Portugal was so confident in tight spaces. They knew they wanted to pressure us because they knew how uncomfortable we were with their pressure. So as much as the US didn't play well against Portugal, I want to make sure that we give our credit to Portugal and how good of team they are and the potential of this Portuguese team, because I think that in the next 4 years for the next World Cup, they could be a team that could be everyone's dark horse going into it.
I totally agree with what you're saying. And with that, if we are able to focus on that final third and actually start converting and again, more passes, more combinations, more possession on our end, but hopefully with a few changes here and there, we can start to connect those.
All right, last question about the US team though. What would you make any changes to the US lineup?
I would like to see
how would you approach Sweden in this game?
How would I approach Sweden? I would keep a 4-3-3. I would like to see Lynn Williams come in on the flank. I think that she created chances. We just have to finish those chances. With that, I also, I keep Julie Ertz in the back. I like her mentality back there, her leadership presence, but we need the ball in the midfield more. We need it at Lindsay Horan's feet. We need to be able to change the point, connect Alex to that front line, get Sophia Smith 1v1 against their back line. All of those I think will be really important for us to have success against Sweden.
Yeah, I'm thinking we push Julie Ertz into the midfield. I think we've been lacking that bite. We don't have any connection and partnership and chemistry in the midfield. I think Andy Sullivan has been pulled out in that midfield, and there's no one in the midfield that's able to dictate the tempo and like what you're talking about. And for me, that's Julie Ertz. So I would actually put Alana Cook in. I think it gives height advantage for our team against a Swedish side that is deadly on set pieces and aerial battles. So that would give us some height. And also be able to push up Julie Ertz to be able to control that midfield, because I think that's what this team is lacking the last couple of games, is somebody being able to dictate the tempo in the midfield. So we'll see. We made a bet on Fox that if Vladko makes any changes to the back line, personnel or tactically, that Heather O'Reilly will be going swimming with the Sharks in the cages. Since getting a late winner in the first game against South Africa, Sweden haven't conceded. What have you made of this so far?
I mean, Sweden is a very good team. They have players that have been on the team for a long time. And so they have their veteran players who are very good. They're well organized. They're great in the air. They are going to be a very difficult opponent. However, I believe with our front line, Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman, Alex Morgan, Lynn Williams, that we have the ability to beat them 1v1. But with that, what we've talked about is keeping possession to actually get to that final third. So those are going to be important points as we continue to progress, but also making sure we're capitalizing on our chances.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the US actually thrives in a game like this, although it's very difficult to play against Sweden. They've always found a way to frustrate us, sit in that low block and then quicken transitions. I think the US team likes a transitional game. And I think, like you said, Trinity Rodman, Lynn Williams, Alyssa Thompson, whoever he has on those wingers will actually thrive in those positions. And I think the US is used to and actually comfortable playing against physical teams. But I do look at the aerial duels and the presence that we have, and we don't have as many good headers anymore. You've got Julie Ertz, you've got Lindsay Horan, and that's why I think Alana Cook might be good in this lineup. But Sweden is absolutely dangerous on set pieces. They scored 3 goals in their second game just off corner kicks. Ilestedt is one of the best players in the world on set pieces. So how the US team is going to organize and defend set pieces, I think is going to be crucial for the US. But I do think in the run of play, the US is going to actually enjoy playing this game, whereas Portugal and some of the other teams have really sat back and haven't looked to transition and fly in the wings. So it'll be a little bit of cat and mouse on the outsides too, which will be fun too. So I think everyone tuning in will enjoy this game. There's so much history and rivalry between the US and Sweden. And really, there's no World Cup experience without playing Sweden. That's just what the US knows. So I think it's familiar territory, right?
So true. So true. Love it.
Yeah. Okay. What is your prediction for the match with Sweden?
It's going to be a tough match. Listen, don't get me wrong. I agree with everything you've been saying. I just feel that with our mentality and the way we attack games, that's going to help us. And in a World Cup, you need a little bit of momentum, a little bit of luck, things to go your way. So I think that's going to continue for us. And I think Alex Morgan is due for a goal. I do. And she's going to get it. She's a big time player. She always has been. She thrives in big moments. So I'm going to say US 1-0 over Sweden. What do you think?
I like that, Tarpey. Yeah, I think this game is going to be so tight. I think it's going to come down to the wire. And honestly, I think whoever scores first is going to win this game. I think the US can't afford to have a slow first 45 minutes. It's only going to put pressure on them in the second half. And although I do not think the US are playing well, I still think they're going to find a way to pull this one off. Against a Swedish side that's gained momentum and confidence throughout the group play, I do think the US has that psychological edge over them and will find a way to move on. What other teams have impressed you so far in this tournament?
It's been such a fun tournament. I mean, if we would have predicted that Brazil and Germany would be out before the knockout rounds, I mean, I wouldn't have believed it till it's happened. I've been really impressed with Japan and England. I really like the way they're playing. I feel like they have a game plan. They're sticking to it. And Japan has always been fun to watch. They are not fun to play against because they're so technical, and tactically they are making adjustments now. So again, those two teams are the teams that I think have been really fun to watch in different ways. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I love the underdog teams. I love the debutantes who are made it for Morocco. Last night, watching Morocco, getting tears here on the Fox set, watching a debutante who has achieved something for literally the best moment in their lives. They had expectations to try to win a game, and they are going through. A team like Jamaica, who did not concede a goal the entire group stage, they are going to go on and play against Colombia, who's also another team who's surprising people, who have an international 18-year-old star in Linda Caicedo, who is now helping take them to another level. So it's not as much about the teams that I expected to perform. It's about the debutantes and the teams that people were just sleeping off, to see how much this game and that level that we've talked about, the bar has closed, and you never know now who's going to win. And I think that's what makes this World Cup so special. And you're seeing the investments made from federations and everything that's paying off. So for me, it's the Jamaicas, it's the South Africas, it's the Moroccos. These are teams that went far above and beyond what people thought that they could do. And now anything from here on out is a win, because they can play freely. They can play as the underdog, and they can go show the world what they're made of. And that, for me, I think makes this World Cup so, so special. What has been the biggest surprise of the tournament so far?
Ooh, biggest surprise. I would say Morocco for me. Just like you said, all of these teams who you've heard about, but this is their chance to shine. It's the world stage, and they are coming and performing. And now going into the knockout rounds, it's really remarkable. Morocco is ranked number 72, and they're going to the knockout round. So it just shows you that you never know what's going to happen. And the world has gotten so much better with women's soccer, and the investment has been huge. We need to continue to invest. We need to continue to move the ball forward, because now we have platforms like this where you don't know who's going to advance and you don't know who's going to win. And every match is going to be at another level. And so it's been so fun to watch and follow it along.
Yeah, it has. I've been working with Karina LeBlanc here, a former Canadian goalkeeper who played in 6 World Cups. And I know for her, as much as we talk about strides moving forward and how the game is elevating, and CONCACAF, especially Jamaica, and seeing how well they're doing, we have teams like Canada who won the Olympic gold last year and have now been knocked out of group stage. And it's crazy to think that the tide is rising, but we can't leave behind a team like Mexico, who didn't even make this World Cup, and a team like Canada, who won a gold medal last summer. And so that's what's so interesting about this World Cup. And that's why World Cups are so amazing, is new teams get to emerge, but we have to also look at the teams that are not succeeding and what's happening to their federations, and look at their professional leagues and what's going on. I think Germany is going to do the same. Germany has been a powerhouse and played in every World Cup group knockout ever. For them to get knocked out is a massive, massive disappointment. Yep. So for them and that federation, what they're going to do to figure out what their next 4 years look like, I think those are like critical pieces in making sure that the teams that are on top and have been on top, how they continue moving forward too. And so that's the beauty of this World Cup and why it's been so, so crazy. All right, last question. Let's go through predictions for the round of 16 games. So
okay, here we go.
I'm gonna say, yeah, and you can start and I'll follow. Let's start off with England, Nigeria.
England.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Nigeria is such a dangerous team, and people kind of wrote them off, and they're just like gaining this momentum, and I think this one is going to be so tight. I'm going to go ahead and say that England might win, but it might go into PKs because I think this Nigerian squad is that dangerous. Japan versus Norway.
I'm going to take Japan. Like I said earlier, really like how they're playing. I feel like they are so technical, and then tactically they are solving other teams. So I'm sticking with Japan.
Yeah, me too. I think I've been most impressed with Japan, and I don't think we know what version of Norway is going to show up. We've seen a lot of different versions, and although they have an amazing attacking three, they actually play better without Ada Hegerberg. And so I'm interested to see who shows up for Coach Hege Reese that we know very well. So I'm going to go ahead and say Japan as well. US versus Sweden. We both said US. We'll be moving on. Jamaica versus Colombia.
I am going to take Jamaica. They have been so fun to watch. I love their energy, the way they're playing, their personality. So I'm sticking with them.
Oh, Melissa Ortiz is going to be so mad at me if I say Jamaica, but I want Jamaica to win. Defensively, what they've done, how good Drew Spence is in the midfield, their goalkeeper, Bunny Shaw. This group collectively is amazing, and they found a way to not concede a goal. And so I want them to do well. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Jamaica might have a slight edge. I don't think Colombia showed up against Morocco. And although they had an amazing game against Germany, I don't know if I see them gaining momentum as we go on. Australia, Denmark.
I am going to take Australia because I'm hopeful that Sam Kerr is going to be back in the lineup, and host country doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, I would agree. Host country. We're here in Sydney. It is amazing vibes. Regardless if Sam Kerr has been playing or not, the energy here, it's been so cool to see and be part of. And I actually think this team is playing well, and they played better without Sam Kerr. And I don't necessarily know how I would insert her back into the starting lineup. Just based off of their last game, I thought collectively they were so strong, and everybody, Caitlin Ford and Rasso and all these players, Steph Catley, they all picked it up a notch. And because they did collectively, I think they were unbeatable. I would bring in Sam Kerr off the bench. The home crowd here is waiting for her to make an appearance. And so I think that's the way she'll get inserted into the game. France versus Morocco.
I'm going to take France. I think they've been fun to watch. They have so many personality players, but Morocco has done incredibly well. And they have been such a surprise, but in a good way, and have come and shown the world what they can do and where they want to take their women's team.
Yeah, just like their men's team, they're doing incredible things. They're finally pumping money into their women's professional league. The federation is supporting them, and you're starting to see what happens when federations support their teams. But yeah, I think that France does have a slight advantage, although I haven't been very impressed with France throughout this tournament. I think they've been really inconsistent. And so again, France is a team that never ends up winning when it matters. I do think they're going to make it to this game, but we'll see if they make it any farther after that. The Netherlands versus South Africa.
Okay, you can go first, Les. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Netherlands, the Dutch. I think they've been gaining the momentum throughout the group stages. I think collectively they are a very cohesive unit. Roord is one of my favorite midfielders in this tournament. She can score goals. She runs at midfield along with Van de Donk. I think they are incredibly hard to play against. I think Lika Martens is having a good tournament. I think they're like slowly gaining momentum, and they've been pretty consistent in all of their matches. Although South Africa is really organized defensively, they have a strong, cohesive unit. I think the Netherlands will eventually release that and end up winning this game.
I agree with you. I think the Netherlands will solve it tactically and then be able to attack the spaces that they want to attack. So I think they're sophisticated and will be able to solve that pressure in the way that South Africa defends.
Okay. And
okay,
last one.
This is great.
Yeah. Yeah. We have on all of them, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Switzerland versus Spain.
Do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Spain.
Yeah.
I think we saw, a very inconsistent performance, and I think that Spain got exposed, especially in their back line. Rocio, their center back, I hope that we do not see her in the next game because I think she was the weakest part of their team. She made a lot of errors in the back line, and I think that's how they conceded those first 2 goals. I think what's so crazy about this Spanish side is how well they can possess the ball. Mm-hmm. And Bonmati and Hermoso are so incredible in that midfield in dictating tempo and the way that they play. But I think that Japan came out with a tactical plan and executed them and found a way. And I think other teams are watching that Japanese performance and are going to come out similarly against Spain. But I do think Spain is going to have the edge over Switzerland. Although Switzerland is very organized defensively and they like to possess the ball, I think Spain just has too much attacking talent and fluidity and creativity in that attacking third that they will win that game.
I totally agree with you. It's going to be a good match, but I think that Spain will be able to solve it and figure out how they want to tactically go on it and win this match. I do agree with you with how they defend. They need to spend more time and figure out that back line and with time. But again, knockout rounds, it's a whole new tournament now. I mean, the first portion is done. The second portion, all of the teams, it's win and you go on, lose, you go home. So again, the pressure is immense and it's going to be awesome to see who continues to rise and who uses the momentum throughout the tournament.
Yeah, Tarp, you keep talking about time. There's no time left. They got
the time's coming, Les.
It's do or die for these teams, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, the US, for example, it's go time, but I do believe that they're here. Like, look at Germany. They're not here. So again, it is knowing what you need to improve on and being able to put the work in, figure it out and move forward. And I believe that the US has those players to be able to make those changes quickly.
Back to US. Sorry. Did you say you'd make any subs? You'd have Lynn Williams starting?
I'd have Lynn Williams.
So same lineup as last game?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Lindsay Tarpley, Leslie Osborne here. We just ran through the group stages. We are on to the knockout rounds, people, and this is where it gets even more exciting. So make sure you tune in and go USA.
Woo!